The Swiss Alps have always carried a double reputation: breathtaking beauty on the surface and silent, merciless danger beneath the ice. In August of 2002, a young German couple arrived at these legendary mountains believing they were prepared. They were experienced climbers, disciplined, careful, and deeply in love. What was meant to be a romantic ascent became a disappearance that would haunt investigators for 2 decades. Petra Kruger was 28 years old, methodical, calm, and respected among her climbing peers. Her partner, Lukas Meyer, was more impulsive but physically strong, driven by the thrill of altitude and challenge. Together, they planned a multi-day climb along a lesser-traveled route near the Aletsch Glacier, one of the largest and most treacherous ice formations in the Alps. Weather reports warned of instability, but nothing unusual for seasoned climbers. They signed the trail log, informed no one of an exact return time, and began their ascent. The first 2 days passed without incident. According to later reconstructions, they made steady progress, navigating narrow ridges and sleeping in exposed alpine shelters. On the 3rd day, the weather shifted abruptly. Temperatures rose faster than expected. Ice that should have remained solid began to soften. Snow bridges weakened. By late afternoon, visibility dropped as clouds rolled in, swallowing the peaks whole. Somewhere along a steep glacial traverse, disaster struck. An ice shelf collapsed beneath them. What happened in the next moments would only become clear years later. Lukas survived the initial fall, tumbling down the slope, his body battered but alive. Petra did not. She vanished into the glacier, swallowed by ice, snow, and debris in seconds. Lukas was found 2 days later by a rescue helicopter, clinging to a rock outcrop, severely injured, hypothermic, and barely conscious when questioned. His account was fragmented. He remembered Petra screaming his name. He remembered reaching for her rope, then nothing. Search teams scoured the area for weeks, probing crevices, scanning ice fields, risking their own lives. There was no trace of Petra Kruger, no body, no equipment, no blood. Eventually, the search was called off. The official conclusion was brutal in its simplicity. Petra had fallen into the glacier and was lost forever. Her family mourned without a body, without answers. Lukas never returned to mountaineering. He refused interviews, declined public sympathy, and disappeared from the climbing world entirely. Some whispered that he knew more than he admitted. Others believed the mountain had simply taken her. For 20 years, the glacier kept its silence. Then came 2022. Climate change had begun to tear the Alps open. Record-breaking temperatures destabilized ice formations that had remained frozen for centuries. Massive sections of glacier collapsed, sending avalanches of ice and rock into valleys below. After one such collapse near the original climbing route, hikers noticed something unnatural emerging from the ice: dark fabric, metal, a rope. Rescue teams were dispatched, expecting debris from old expeditions. What they uncovered stopped them cold: a body, astonishingly preserved by the cold, partially exposed by the melting ice. The clothing matched Petra Kruger's gear from 2002. Her harness was still fastened, her helmet fractured. But what shocked investigators was not the condition of the body, it was the position. Petra was not lying where a fall would have left her. She was found seated, back against a rock wall, knees drawn up, arms wrapped around herself. Her rope had been cut cleanly, not frayed or snapped by force. Nearby, embedded in ice, was Lukas's climbing tool, deliberately placed, not dropped. Forensic analysis deepened the horror. Petra had survived the fall. Her injuries were severe, but not immediately fatal. Evidence suggested she lived for hours, possibly longer. Trapped in an air pocket within the glacier, scratches on the ice wall indicated movement. attempts to climb, to escape, her final moments were spent waiting for rescue that never came. When confronted with the findings, Lucas Meyer broke his silence for the first time in 20 years. His statement was brief and devastating. He admitted that after the collapse, he heard Petra calling to him from below. He tried to reach her, but the ice continued shifting. He believed another collapse would kill them both. In panic, injured and disoriented, he made a decision that would save his life and seal hers. He cut the rope. He told himself there was nothing he could do. He told himself she was already dead. The glacier preserved the truth long enough to prove him wrong. The case was reopened, but justice had a cruel limitation. The statute of limitations had expired. No charges could be filed. Lucas walked free, carrying a truth that the ice had hidden but never erased. Petra Kruger was finally brought home in 2022. Her family held a funeral 2 decades late. The glacier that had stolen her also became the witness that spoke when no one else would. The Alps remain beautiful, climbers still return. But beneath the ice, stories remain buried, waiting for the moment the cold can no longer keep their secrets, and somewhere high above the valleys, the mountains still decide who comes back.